It was a gun.
I'm not voting.
If we want to build our nation.
The problem with the Somalians.
Just want to experience something else than a black man.
Move on, move
Can't be like a horse with blinkers on.
Honestly say, I was about to have sex and then I pulled
crap,
up.
but it's nice.
I'm Nelly. I'm Mrs. Onwabo. I'm a nurse by profession.
I'm Tamli Blindi, the correct name. Born and bred in New Brighton, a teacher by profession.
Hi, I'm Pumzile Pell. I was born and bred in PE. I grew up in Zwede. I stay in Overparkens. I work for the Nelson Mandela Metro Electricity Department.
Hi, I'm Troy, born and bred in PE. I'm a teacher by profession, currently running a state business in Jekisa Road.
I'm PC Mlindi. I'm working for a security establishment in government.
Hombile Kume, also a Port Elizabeth and through. I'm married, I've got 2 children.
I'm Pumelelo Mani, originally from Cape Town, but grew up in PE.
Hi, Banks Kwaktola, founder of Ubuntu Education Fund, which is a non-profit organization based in Sweden. That's it.
It is true that the people who are leading us, the politicians, are very corrupt. Even if, Joe, we could have an understanding with the politicians by saying, for example, I mean, this is the worst scenario. By saying to the politicians, guys, this is 2010. Eat as much as you want. Give us a chance in 2040. They wouldn't be finished by that time. They would want to go beyond 2040.
We were promised like 500,000 jobs till the end of 2009. Is it feasible? I'm sure that's debatable. It's a promise. Maybe it can be done, or it can be done.
More than 300 years of colonialism cannot be wiped out in 10 to 15 years.
I agree with you.
We have more than 300 years of colonialism. Black people being oppressed, deprived, their land taken away, their source of life taken away.
South Africa is still lily white. Much as we were freed in 1994, but you still see the remnants of apartheid, in the institutions that we are supposed to be using, legally, But you see something that you once experienced in 1989, in 2009, in a new South Africa, after 3 black administrations, So it becomes a very serious situation for a person of my age who has an experience of apartheid, not by chance, So there are those wounds when you go to some institutions which are being opened up, by some people within the South African situation.
There is a tendency, from people, to want things, come to them. They don't have a drive, to look out for things. I think this is a problem even now.
Unfortunately, you cannot look for something you don't know. You cannot just go looking for something you don't know.
Exactly, and I'm trying to say, there are opportunities, and in South Africa, for that matter, and we've got the best constitution, than any other country, in the world. In South Africa,
but we need to know about them. We need to know about them.
That's why I'm saying, if you're not interested, we are not going to know these things. If you're not curious, you're not going to know these things, because we want to sit there and expect that information is going to come to you.
Affirmative action, I submit my application form for employment, and the company that I applied to does not implement the affirmative action. What else must I do?
It's not automatic, man, that you're going to get a job when you have applied.
Because I'm talking about
because you are you are competing. Each job is about the competition. If there's a job vacancy out there, it's not only yourself. Perhaps
what I'm saying, I don't have to go and scratch for affirmative action somewhere else before I apply to that company. I'm not talking about getting the job. I'm
What are you saying?
You said we must learn this thing. We must go back. We must find out information about these things. But I can't relate that to affirmative action. If I apply for a job, I think that company should implement. Even if I don't get a job.
It's only that you are not employed by that company. That's why you're bemoaning is.
There needs to be some mechanism to see to it that there is proper implementation of affirmative action. Because if you are to talk of evaluating implementation, then after evaluating you have your results, and then you talk review, then that review should be done based on sectors, and there must be a mechanism created deliberately by government to see to it, to that implementation of that policy, because there has to be a situation where some institutions get penalized, for failing the policy.
I was going to say that Uombi did mention this. Remember, these are private companies, not government or state companies. The government cannot force a particular company to employ a particular person. What the government can do is to encourage that company by incentives, less tax, less what. That's what the government does. Because that is a private company.
Policy and not the individual.
No. I'm saying the government can do that in government institutions. They can do that. They do that in government institutions. But in private companies, government cannot force a particular company. They can actually encourage a company.
It's affirmative action. It's not if Ford company is going to see to it that that's what the legislation says on the time. Affirmative action, implement or afford. General Motors, you name them.
All sectors.
It's not a favor. All sectors. It's legislated.
It is. But the
government has got an obligation to force.
Do that. But the government cannot force that company to do that.
Like for instance, recently, Anglo-American wanted.
You're finding them.
I'm sorry, but
you're finding them. Incentive. Either you punish or you find them.
If they afford to pay out, those penalties, it goes on and on and on.
But I just want to get myself involved to this thing of the government being encouraging, especially people from the private sector, those companies, Because like for instance, recently in the newspaper I saw there was an article there that was talking about the Cyril Ramaphosa, who had been offered a job, by the Anglo-American, you see, as a deputy manager, you see, and he declined to take that particular position because of citing the business opportunities that he was having, you see. But he couldn't take that offer, But even the government did persuade that, and the government wanted to encourage that there should be a black person that should have to take that particular position, that post in the Anglo-American, But the position is seemingly there was a guy from America who wanted to take that particular position, you see. But I do not know what's going on. But that's the purpose of the government, in particular, in terms of these things of the private sector, rather than the public sector. Because seriously, in the public sector, it is easy for the government to take a person, and employ him in that particular position. But in the private sector, it's so very difficult, But instead, what it should do is just to encourage that kind of a perfect thing.
Exactly. What we're saying, we don't dispute the fact that the private companies are doing what they, what they're doing as they wish. We don't dispute that. All that we are saying, all the companies have got a legal obligation to implement affirmative action.
Do they do that?
In principle, legislated as it may be, that there should be affirmative action. A company is private. Privately owned, privately run, privately managed, and government benefits from that company through taxes. You interfere too much in that company, it goes away. It immediately disinvests.
I disagree.
No, it immediately disinvests.
Labor Relations Act, there are OSH Acts. Government makes sure, but all those companies, they abide with all those laws. Whether public or private.
Can I make an example? You
don't have to do whatever you feel like.
No, you're mixing things here.
You intervene, they disinvest, they just go away.
But they're right.
They go away, they can be able to amass more profits.
Do you still remember when Mandela came out of prison? When he was very strong about nationalization? Do you still remember? And some guys, politicians, big shots, politicians, big business people, they said, you nationalize, we back and go.
And what happened?
Matiba decided to neutralize that. Why Zuli sell?
And then?
Things were normal, Tamle.
Were they privatized?
What I'm saying, Mamela, what I'm saying then, Tamle Galoko, if those companies were going to be nationalized, when Tamle, now those companies, as of Velaziambe, rise again, go crime, could rise into. So Matiba decided not to be as strong as he was. Do you still remember that?
I think we were concurring on the point.
Mamela Tamle, I agree with you to a certain extent when it comes to that. There are legislations on the Tamle as Bakona, whereby the company is going to stay or leave. The company is going to take that position. As much as the example that I've just made is supporting your argument, but all that I'm saying, there are legislations on the Tamle, the government is, if you're not going to pay to this, just go. We can't be kept on ransom by a few companies saying that we're going to do this, even if the government is saying that. No.
At the end of the day, that is a private company. Bottom line. What the government can do is to encourage, very softly so, kid gloves, to make sure that at least that company does not go away. We'll retain the jobs.
You know, we're worried about our kids, Joe. You know, presently, too, there's no direction. Perhaps we had high expectations. Perhaps we expected so much from the government. You know, perhaps there are quite a number of things that are responsible for the government not delivering as much as the government would love to. But be that as it may, we're very disappointed.
We talk about a government that is in, has 15 years right now, 14 years. And we talk about the World Cup stadiums that have been recently built. The World Cup is something that we just won 3 to 4 years ago. Democracy has been there for 15 years, for more than 14 years, let me put it that way. But up to now, what has been done in the township? Schools are still the same. They are not motivating the children to go and attend schools. We're still, even ourselves here, sitting here. You ask Troy, where's your child? Where's your child going schooling? He's schooling in town. Why is he schooling in town? You ask Mlin. Mlin will say the same thing. Why are we running away from the township schools? It's all because there are no resources at all. I thought then, when our government came into power, that would be the first thing. We'll still talk about the same thing over and over again. As long as we don't focus on education, education is the key to success. That's all I would say.
There are new people now that are actually in government. There are people who are here with a new vision. Not necessarily new because but because they're building on what was done in the past. They are continuing with the work they're supposed to actually do. And therefore my humble request to the guys is to say, give them a chance.
My dream is a community free of AIDS. My dream is drug-free community.
A better life for all.
My dream is to advance in my career.
I concur with what Tamle is saying. Better life for all. Better life for all in the true sense of the word.
A society free of crime and better education system.
I would like, if I could see our country, prospering, in terms of economic activities.
The better life for all, that is free from everything, especially in education and better living conditions.
If people can get jobs, I'm sure the crime rate will be reduced. Drugs, AIDS, because all these things, I think it's because of people sitting around doing nothing.
My dream is to see, better educational structures, especially for disadvantaged people, and more care for vulnerable, children. Yeah, that's about all.